we have another panel discussion. And this time, it will be led by Ruby Mathur. Ruby has been a market practitioner and a lecturer at the fashion department of the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts for 8 years. Ruby organized corporate events and is also a certified MC. She has been hosting events in India, Hong Kong, and Singapore. In addition, she is a parent of a teenage boy and will be moderating this discussion, which will be on the future of education and its significance. Ruby, please.
Thank you, Samantha, for leadership. And Mousetrap, definitely. Every time I hear, I always get very motivated. So anyway, we are here to talk about leadership, innovation, and now we are here to talk about future of education, what actually lies in the future of education for our youth. Lifelong learning, stackable credits, on-demand education, hyper-personalization and education and learning can be customized to the students' preferences. According to World Economic Forum, in the next 8 years, they say technological and computing skills will need the employment for almost 10 times what we need now. And in another 3 years, which is by 2020, they would almost be 2.21 million jobs required. So, do you think we are actually preparing our youth for that? We have technological advancements, we are talking about nanotechnology, we are talking about 3D printing, and they are all there to get our youth skillful. Anyway, going not in detail about that, I would like to invite our first panelist, which is a very wonderful person, and he is the principal of Stanford, actually secondary and high school principal of Stanford American International School, and he joined in 2015 after a vast experience in Switzerland and US. Let's welcome Mr. Stephen Dexter. He has been in education industry for 22 years and is a parent to 2 kids who are almost teenagers now. Next eminent panelist that we have is an educator for more than 27 years and has been teaching in schools in UK, Egypt, Turkey, Switzerland, Qatar, and presently a principal and manager of operations and partnerships of Aoba-Japan International School, Tokyo. So please welcome Mr. Robert Thorn. Then we have Mr. Roger Thorn, who is an educator for 20 years and is a parent of 3 children. He is also the head of department of PE, Physical Education, and CCA in the Singapore School. So please welcome Mr. Roger Thorn. Thomas Donnelly, who is all in all an educator. He has been teaching biology, oceanography, ecology, chemistry, physics, earth science, physical science, life science, and mathematics. He has been teaching for 40 years and presently based in Vietnam, employed by Singapore International School. So can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Thomas? So, we have actually been talking about education, which has changed from paper-based to media. We all know that, all the youth knows that. I will direct this question to Mr. Dexter, Mr. Stephen Dexter. Being the head of school and having vast experience in heading various schools in different parts of the world, what do you think we are actually leading to according to the innovation that we have at present? Even though we are bound with a curriculum, a set of system that we have so-called, as educator, we are given the instructions to follow that curriculum. But are we actually prepared to take our kids to the future according to that curriculum, or we have to change? Do we have to change the system?
Well, that's a great question for a Saturday afternoon. First of all, I'm very excited to be here. And it's an honor to sit and listen to these inspiring students. And I know they put a lot of work into their speeches, and they were very well presented. And I learned a lot. I even tweeted a couple of times that I was so inspired by their words. So this also reminds me a little bit of a stressful situation I had a few years ago where I was interviewing for a pretty big job, and they took all of the candidates and they put us on a stage like this in front of several hundred students, and they had us answer questions that the students were asking, and we didn't know what those questions were. And I was first. And that just reminded me of that experience where I was on stage having to answer questions, and I had the honor of going first. So your question was about, is our curriculum, are we ready to, is our curriculum, in the way we're assessing our curriculum, preparing our students for the future?
Can that curriculum actually take us with time, or rather can we lead? Can we be the leader in time? Are we actually preparing our students with that curriculum? Or what do we need to do, at the present? Do we need to change that curriculum?
Well, I work in an international school, so I have to say, yes, of course the curriculum prepares them for the future. But all joking aside, I really see, I work in an IB school, International Baccalaureate, and we also have a variety of other programs and pathways for students to get a diploma. But I do believe that what's going to start happening, and is already happening, is that the curriculum will become more skills-based, it will be less standardized, and it will become more personalized to what is needed in industry and the skill sets that students want to pursue. So the curriculum, I think, will cease to be a one-size-fits-all model. There will need to be standards, but I do believe that it will be a skills-based model where students will demonstrate their aptitudes in a variety of ways, and they might not even go to college. They might go straight into industry. So I see this whole gatekeeping model of curriculum and standardization and benchmarks probably going away in the next generation.
Thank you. I'll ask Mr. Roger, I know you believe in that all students, all kids are different. So how do you think about, because as I said, we have a set curriculum which is standardized, but how do you think about every child is different? What do we do as educator there?
Every child is different. May I just add on to what he said about whether we should change the curriculum? Maybe the other thing that we can look into is an assessment. Just because recently I attended a workshop on leadership, and this ex-SAF chief of army was talking about how they want to change the curriculum develop the third generation soldier. So they had to change the pedagogy, and then to cut the story short, he went for a walk, to observe, and then in that walk, he realized that while changing the pedagogy and the curriculum, the army in a sense, he has also changed the assessment, because you cannot use the traditional assessment to now assess the new third generation soldiers. And I think it's the same for schools. If we are moving forward in innovation, in technology, and if you are using the traditional ways to measure these new ways of moving forward, then we are stressing ourselves out easily. So likewise, I think with these different students are all different, perhaps we have to then ask ourselves what are the outcomes, the learning outcomes that the assessment has to follow, aligned to the changes that we do.
Ms. Thomas, when we talk about the future careers, how do you think we can get more students interested in STEM schools?
Well, STEM, by the way, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And before I say anything else, I too want to say how impressed I am with all the speeches and presentations. Congratulations, young ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see you and listen to you. I'm biased in the sense that most of my life, 40 years, has been involved in all the different subjects that, Ruby, I almost said Ruby. Ruby, okay, I almost said Ruby, but I stopped. That Ruby spoke about. It's been my life, it's been my passion. I've tried to steer as many of my students in that direction. And I sometimes feel I have failed more often than I have succeeded, although I've had a lot of students do some amazing things. I wanted so much more for them. And in my later years here now, I've actually gotten more exposed to younger and younger children, which I never did before. And it's amazing to see the excitement in a fifth grader or a sixth grader when they're doing a science experiment. And it's disappointing, disconcerting to see that level of interest just kind of tail off 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And I've lain awake, many nights trying to think, how can we get kids interested to get them back into science, technology, engineering, mathematics, especially you young ladies. I mean, this is the time where we need more and more people in those fields. And everybody wants to be a businessman. Everybody wants to be an MBA. Everybody, come on, be a scientist, an engineer. You can still maybe be an MBA, but we need you. So you're going to work hard. There's no question. Those are hard areas. Those areas that I mentioned, but the reward is amazing. So
yeah, that's the need of the time.
But
thanks.
How do we do that? It almost feels like I'm trying to pull them back. What happens to that interest, that excitement that they have when they're in 5th and 6th grade? And it just seems to tail off as they get older and older. I'm open for discussion, gentlemen.
In the future of education, when we talk about, we have such employments that we are not even prepared of. So, Mr. Robert, what do you think about, like, how are you preparing your students in your school for the futures we don't even know that they exist?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the crucial question that all school communities really need to answer. How are we, as a school community, preparing our young people for the future? What sort of education do they really need? And I think it's been amazing because we have been able over the years to, as Bhatika says, we are very good at killing not only creativity but the amazing wonders of these subjects. So children are not interested anymore. And it's not your fault, my fault. I'm a science teacher too. The problem is perhaps we're using school in the wrong way, and the answer to the first question, I think, is that yes, we have always been ready. We've been always ready to get education right. It's just that things stand in the way. National curriculums, government experts, universities, goes on and on and on. These, as Stephen was saying, it's true that things are moving forward. We are getting more individualized curriculum, more student-centered, learner-centered education. But then you'll find a colleague from Australia where they had such an education saying, our government's just gone back. You just find in my country from a very long time ago, now they've just cut out coursework. So you say it may change in a generation, but why wait for a generation? Why not change now? And who can change it? And I think what Long was saying in his speech was that we can change it. And we've been looking into in our school a process, a very simple process. If schools want to change, they have to go through a process of asking themselves some very deep questions. And instead of starting with, I'm a maths teacher, these are the grades we get, we start with, for example, in our planning, how am I going to plan this lesson so that children get what they need? Now, I've talked to lots of people all over the world and they say the same things. Collaboration, communication, inquiry, curiosity, these are the things that kids need for the future, and there's more. Start with that with your lesson planning. Ask you, if you're a parent, ask your school, how are you teaching that? How are you developing my kid?
Yeah, actually that's I would just interrupt her. I would like to know, I know a lot of parents have come from India all the way. I would actually like to know how many parents are hands-on parents and they go to the school and ask what is the curriculum like. Can I see? How many parents, hands up, how many of you actually get into that what is the curriculum like? How are the students being assessed? So actually are these formative and assessment that summative assessment that we are looking for, will they actually continue? What do you think, Mr. Tan? Because online test is a test, digital lecture is a lecture after all. But as we move on in the future, would they go on? Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, like Robert says about the government, or we are accountable with the money we spend in school. The summative assessment has to go on, although we say that it's going to stress the kids and so on, but we still have to assess and give where are the students, account where is their learning and so on. So that I think will go on. But I guess what that had to change is the way teachers, educators carry out the lesson. We have to bring in the values, the attitudes that we want to change. That we want to develop. Social emotional competencies. I think these are things that will help the kids for the future. Like you said, it's a VUCA world. We do not know what's the future, what job we're going to hold.
I would like to quickly ask Mr. Dexter about it. Very fast. We are running out of time, I'm sorry.
Ask me about
the assessments, that would they continue the same way or we have to go a different way in the future of education?
Well, just quickly, I really see the way assessments are used right now. It is for a sorting mechanism for university. And I had one of my students tell me, in a meeting we had with students, he goes, can we just get on with it? Because as we all know, you're the last blockade before university. And I laughed, he was being a little bit precocious. But the reality is that we are setting up students and sorting them so that they can go to universities. I believe that the university model is going to break. And it's no longer going to function. Of course, you'll have your Ivy Leagues and things like that, but as a gateway to a future success, it's going to collapse. And so these students are not going to need these secondary sorting mechanisms to get them into university. They'll be able to design their own competencies and go directly to university, or maybe go directly to Microsoft, or maybe start their own business.
Mr. Thomas, very fast. I know you want to say something. We are very fast.
I just wanted to say that I don't think you're going to do away with either one of them. There's going to have to be a balance struck somewhere. A vocabulary test is still a vocabulary test. Converting mass to moles is going to be the same. You're going to have to hit the calculator or do the arithmetic. Avogadro's number doesn't change.
Okay, so it means we still have to learn maths, we still have to learn science, and our students will be still a bit stressed.
Your multiplication tables are still going to be there.
Right. So. I would like to thank our wonderful panelists at this time. I could go on, but we are short of time. Thank you so much. Can you have a big round of applause?